Hello, and welcome to episode 63 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I'm giving you an inside look at my design mentor. I know I talk about it all the time. I'd love to have you join me in there, but today you kind of get to understand why you might want to join and all the benefits that you will get out of joining. So you're definitely going to stick around and listen to that. And before you get to that, you might also want to download the PDFs I have of the roadmap to interior design. So it kind of tells you all the stops along the way to get from point A of not being a designer to point B of being a successful designer. So you can download that roadmap. And then also there's the 3 things I wish I had known before starting my career in interior design. You can also get that. Links are in the show notes. All right, let's talk about my design mentor. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Okay, let me tell you a little bit more about my design mentor. I know I talk about it all the time in the intros and tell you can go sign up to work more closely with me, but I can kind of give you a rundown of what you could expect if you were to be in that program with me, kind of how we have it laid out. So let me just start with the platform that it's on. It's called Mighty Networks. It's a platform that includes a social aspect to it. So it's a little bit like a Facebook group where you can post a topic that you're working on and everybody else can comment on it. If you want to be like in the community section is what we have. And so there I can post GIFs or funny things or quizzes or anything like that. And a lot of the students will post maybe a question on like schools that they're considering or things like that. So we have the community aspect in there, but the main part of the program is the 12 modules that you will go through that are available to you. I kind of designed it initially to be a month-to-month topic, but you could definitely do it more quickly than in 12 months if you were really keen to get your career started, or if you're doing this, on the sidelines as you're working in another profession and you want to make the switch, but you need to start laying the groundwork. Well, this is a great way to do it. You can do it as slowly as you like as well. So let me kind of work through the 12 different modules that there are. So I break it into 4 sections. The first section is called Go For It. So that is the part where we talk about, first of all, employee versus entrepreneur. So if you're thinking about switching a career, depending on where you're at in your life, you might want to go and work for someone else, or you might just be like, that's it, I'm hanging up my shingle and I'm going to start my own business. So I go into talking about deciding the direction to go, the benefits and advantages of each position, and kind of help you decide what is a good direction for you to go, whether you should work for someone else first or if you should start your own business first. And then, as you go through each of these modules, you can schedule a coaching call with me for a half hour to talk through any questions that might come up. I used to have a scheduled monthly call as a group thing, but I found that it was hard with everyone's schedules to just have everyone come on at the same time. So now I changed it to just a half-hour call you can schedule with me as you like, just because right now that's still manageable for me. If we had, like over 100 people in the program, then I might switch to more of a group coaching format. But for now, because people are coming and going at different rates, some are in there for a short time, some are in there for over a year. So it's worked out for me now that we can just schedule the calls. So like I said, if you're trying to decide between employee versus entrepreneur in that first module, you can just hop on a call with me and I can talk it through and kind of be your sounding board and help you come to a conclusion on what would be the right direction. Then after that, we go to managing money and mindset. As an interior designer, you're going to be handling clients' money and making money. And there's so much baggage, as I talked about before on the podcast, that comes with money and surrounding money. So we go into all those fun details in Module 2. And then the third module of that section is called practical skills. So we're looking at ways that you can develop your skills even before getting your first job. So we're talking about learning how to measure a space, how to develop a floor plan, how to put together a design. And I give you a lot of information on how to do that. And again, you can hop on a call with me, and if you're wondering how exactly to measure a space, or you're curious on whether you stop at this point or that point on the wall, then you can do that on a Zoom call with me. Okay, so then the next section we go into is called On the Job. So that has 3 modules in it. The first one being design psychology and counseling clients. So it's client psychology as well as the psychology of design. So I explore both on how to navigate client personalities, their wish lists, their budgets, and designing to improve the client's lives. There's a lot that goes into that. The 5th module is dealing with problems and professional ethics. As a designer, especially when you own your own business, the buck stops with you, and you need to be doing the right thing by your client, by your trades, and just as a business owner, do the ethical thing. So I go into a lot of details of how to handle problems as they come up, especially when it's a financial burden. And that's why I'm just going to put in here, that's why you need to be charging a higher rate, because problems come up and you're going to have to cover that cost financially. So you need to be making sure you have a cushion to handle those types of things. All right. And then 6th module is working with trades. When you're on the job, you're going to work with a lot of trades, be it contractors, subcontractors, vendors, reps. So I go into how to give trades information, how to communicate with them, and typical job site scenarios. So maybe some problems that might come up on a job site that you might have to deal with and address. So the third section we get into is for modules 7, 8, and 9, and I go into specializing here. So first, for module 7, we look at niches and why it works. So we talk about finding your ideal client and doing what you're passionate about and how that authenticity can really speak to your ideal client. And then we have a section module on kitchen and bath design, because as a residential interior designer, you are likely going to be doing a lot of kitchen and bath design, and you don't necessarily have to pawn it all over to the cabinet designer. It's fine to do an initial layout of kitchen, but there's some things you'll need to know, like the dishwasher goes right next to the kitchen sink, which apparently I came in on a job where it was not designed that way. So yes, the basics of kitchen and bath design, common mistakes that are made and how to avoid them. And then the 9th module is custom made, how to specify custom case goods, upholstery, window coverings. There's so much detail that goes into all of these things, but those custom details really make a project. They really make it unique for your client, and it definitely can be something you can put your signature on. Sometimes there might be certain details that you just love. You always have a flange on the pillows that you make, and that's like your signature look, your signature mark. So everybody who sees your projects be like, oh yeah, look at those pillows. Those are, that's what she always does on her projects. It looks great. So we talk about customizing and how to do that. All right. And then the last grouping of modules is called practicing business. 10, 11, and 12 are design business practices. We talk about contracts, we talk about the operations of a business, kind of go into a little detail on how I run my business, which is very successful, so it would likely work for you as well. So you kind of have an outline of how to get started when you do your own business and how to run your processes and procedures. Then we have a module on sales and marketing and why everyone needs to know this. And I did not know when I started out as an interior designer that I would be a salesperson. And I've talked about this before. I did not think that selling product to my client made me a salesperson, or selling a design layout to my client made me a salesperson, because of course, typically people think of greasy used car salesman when they think of a salesperson. So that's not what we're doing here. But everyone does need to know how sales work. There's some psychology in that, and how marketing can be so beneficial for your business. Everybody needs to do that as well. So my tips and tricks are in there, templates and layouts and everything like that. And then the last module is professional development. Here I'm talking about having a growth mindset, why you should keep learning, and the organizations that you might want to join to take you to the next level and aid your career. And I also talk about moving on from My Design Mentor and some coaches that you could maybe move on to help scale up your business now that it's been started. And so often I'll say, like, I know that I am actually probably your first mentor/coach for all the people that are coming into the program. So I have this very gentle, soft, and easy way to get used to learning from another individual, trying out the things that they're sharing with you, applying it, seeing if it works, and take what does work and use it in your business. So I'm probably going to be the first one you've ever done that with, but I definitely can recommend some coaches, people that I've worked with, and others who you might want to then partner with to take you to the next level after you've done the My Design Mentor program. Okay, so that's the 12 modules that are in the program that you'll be able to go through. Those are PDF downloads. There's about 4 or 5 pages each. There's sections in there for you to reflect, so you can bring your questions on your call. You can write down the questions there. It's like a workbook packet, basically, but definitely something you can reference later on and throughout your career as you are getting going. The other benefits that you will have within My Design Mentor is that I have a book club in there. So it's basically a recommended reading list that I put a book out quarterly to anyone who might want to read it. If they want to put in the chat underneath that book thoughts and feelings that they had about it or insights, then we can have a discussion there about it as well. I also offer portfolio and resume review twice a year. So that's scheduled, and this is something that has been very useful to the students who are in there, especially if you're going to apply to work for another interior designer. I can definitely look at it as though you were applying to me and seeing what would I be looking for if you're coming to apply at Rebecca Ward Design. What am I looking for in an entry-level designer? And so I can help you fine-tune your resume to be aligned with what a designer would be looking for to hire. I can also look at your portfolio and help curate it so that it looks great for that prospective employer or even a prospective client that you might be showing it to. All right. And then what else is available, and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, is that I have as an upgrade, something that you can purchase within the platform is the business starter kit. And so that's going to have so many things. It's like all the checklists. I'm actually adding to it all the time. There's many checklists, procedures, a lot of details of how I run my business. What does a proposal look like? What does a finished schedule look like? All these things are basically handed to you, and also a checklist on how to get your business started. So like the business license and insurance and bank accounts and all those things that you can check off and make sure you're doing it all correctly as you get started. And so that's available for purchase within the platform. Many have purchased it and many just rave over how helpful it is for them to get started on their path. So that is kind of what My Design Mentor is all about. So I hope that gives you a good inside look to My Design Mentor. We have a lot of fun in there. I love all the different students that come through. I hope to see you in there, Curious Creative, as you are looking to start your career in interior design. Like I said, I would love to have you in My Design Mentor. I really just have a passion for young designers, whether you yourself are young or seasoned. But we're all starting out in the career at some point. So I love helping people get their career started, and even just starting a business is just really exciting for me to help other people do that. And so hop in there so I can just enjoy you and help you get from A to B and have a satisfying career like I do. Next week, I'll have another great episode for you. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.